Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to speak about development in Central and East European countries, and probably the best way is to present this country as a laboratory. As laboratory, this experiment from total collapse of system, of economy, social system, collapse of industries, and how this collapse was changed to development. Many of these issues are very similar to development problem of Morocco, as I can see. And what is very why we can follow the Central and Eastern European country as a laboratory. The first is the idea that they are very small country, very similar to laboratory. And the second one is that in very short time, very much operation, very much processes and results can we collect from this development. The first was that the collapse of socialist economy, it is very hardly to imagine. For example, in arm industry, in Czechoslovakia was the country of arm industry. In 1.5 years, the collapse was from 110,000 employees to 15,000. It is more than 90% of collapse. But in this collapse, what is very interesting was nucleus of future development. Why? In arm industry in Central European country, and especially in Slovakia, was the best qualified and educated employees, while the arm industry was the only one industry that should be precise. The other industry was not only important to be precise, not only important, but it was not the case. And it means that we are going to future. Slovakia is now the country with largest car production in the world. Per inhabitants. It means that we produce nearly to 1 million cars per 5 million inhabitants. And this car production was possible only by two conditions. The first was that from this collapsed arm industry, nearly 30,000 employees was high educated and prepared to be employed in car industry. These figures and facts are not very important. I would like to follow some lessons, some observations that are probably more general for settlements, for urban development, and so on. The recovery of Slovak industry was based on two branches. The first was the car industry, as I said. What is very interesting, as you see, in time of crisis we could increase our export 20% from tourism, that export is mostly oriented outside of European Union to USA, China, India, and so on. And in our country are produced most attractive models, for example, Volkswagen, Touareg, Porsche, Cayenne, second generation of Audi Q2, service prepared, Kia Sportage, one of the best cars from Kia, and so on and so on. So, and the second one is very interesting was indigenous development in this after this collapse, and it was the development of ICT industry, ICT branch is relatively good distributed as to territory of Slovakia. And what is very interesting, in former time, Slovakia was so-called district industrialized. It means we have 79 districts, and in every district was one so-called flagship industry that was the main employment node for this district. And while the Slovak and generally Central European policy was not able to follow the rapid changes in structure, because these changes was really very dramatic, the policy was always 1, 2, 3 steps behind. We can follow in this laboratory very natural processes of development, and what is very interesting, the process was there, for example, in theory, this metropolization and polycentric development. In the case of Slovakia, this to see very clearly. Now we have, for example, many other locations were supporting to this metropolization process. For example, ICT enterprises, as you can see, are located near to 2 Slovak metropolis in our national hierarchy of metropolis, Bratislava and Košice. It means that this natural process of polarization, of metropolization and polycentric development was strongly supported by this system of development. We can see now the new structure from 79 district centers. Now we are coming to 2 metropolis where it is very extremely located, while Bratislava is totally on the border to Austria, and the eastern part is Košice. And we have 6 second level polycentric cities. And this green city is the strategic perspective to build, to help this policy, this regulation, to build the city, this second level city, to cover the Slovak territory with these second level cities. But the long perspective, as Peter Najkam in one interview for Slovak TV by ERZA Congress now in Bratislava said, probably in 2050 most of our inhabitants should live in 2 metropolitan cities. By this process where no regulation, no active policy was, it's very interesting to see what the theory is always stated about graduate migrants to the city. You can see on this diagram that under 35 years between 1996 and 2011 was the migrants totally from small cities to biggest city, and more dramatic it is to see here, the red cities of Slovakia all lost the graduate migration. Only 2 cities, 2 metropolitan cities, won by migration of graduate young people. It is probably very, very interesting to, while the graduates are connected with all other aspects of creativity, of development, of indigenous development, the ICT and so on. Some conclusion that collapse and rapid structural changes demonstrate elasticity to new geographies of settlement. And it is really in this laboratory condition to see with no very strong in the first 10 years after collapse, after system changes. Really the policy was not very, very active. I can be witness of this. I was called from university to be a deputy minister for economic strategy, and I was responsible for regional policy and urban development. I can say that the policy was not able to reflect the changes that was really very rapid, very dramatic. Metropolization and polycentric development have a strong tie with location of new enterprises, foreign direct investment, domestic. Now is a strong development of supplier of foreign direct investment. For example, Volkswagen is now 41% of suppliers is domestic suppliers from our country. It is very important for embedded this investment in our country. And what is very important, and it's the lesson and observation from our history, it is the role of multi-level government in creation of hard and soft conditions for the development and influence on all aspects of urban development, migration, housing, land use, cities, countryside, and environment, globalization, and so on and so on. Thank you very much.